I've done 100% in-house prep. I've done 100% outsourced prep. And now I am somewhere in the middle. And I am going to share with you when I send what items and why to either a prep center, to my mom, or to myself. Those are the three different places that I'll send items for prep and pack. And so let me just first give a little bit of background on my prep and pack and thoughts and experience. I started off doing it. You kind of have to, right? For me, there wasn't an opportunity. It just made sense. It does become time consuming, and it does become something that I found put me in a bad mood. I mean, I don't mind putting on YouTube and doing some, but when it could take up a whole day, I was just always feeling like I feel like my time could be better spent. But I also want to say, contrarily, I think there's a misconception for a lot of people that their time is better spent doing other stuff. That's with the assumption that you know how to source well and you have the capital to do so. Now, I'm not saying sitting on the couch watching Netflix isn't valuable to you, but just from a strictly monetary standpoint, sometimes prepping and packing yourself could pay 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks an hour for a variety of reasons. So, for instance, one, when you get things to Amazon quicker, you can maybe charge a premium for like out of stock items, or you can list them FBM right away. So you can gain a competitive advantage, sell things for higher. Sometimes your arbitrage of maybe you buy grocery in your area and there's no sales tax on grocery or very, very minimal. So you're not paying somebody to do it because you're going to do it yourself, right? My point is there's times and places for all of them. And this is after 3.5 years what I've landed on. So let's break it down and which items I send to which sources. All right. So first up is a prep center in a tax-free state. To be very frank with you, I could never imagine using a prep center in a tax state. So then you're paying sales tax and you're paying somebody to prep and pack when there's good prep and pack centers in tax-free states. I'll never fully understand that, but to each their own. So I use them, right? When do I use them? I use them for expensive items. The reason for that, let's say I pay $40 for a beauty product, right? Well, I pay $150 per unit. So if I spend $10 an item, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, I'm still paying them $150. But sales tax continues to go up, right? So if let's say 7% sales tax on an item that's $40, then I would pay $2.80. Now, if I send that item to my prep center, I don't pay sales tax and I pay $150. So I'm saving $1.30 and not having to prep and pack. So expensive items typically make sense to go to a prep center, in my opinion. Next up is items that I already have in stock, replens, if you want to call them, or just things that I'm buying more of. The reason for that is because time is not so critical because I already have my inventory there. So really, as long as something is basically $21 or more, $21 is like my break even. And anything more than $21, I'm saving money on. But also, again, I don't have to touch or prep the product, giving me my time, my physical space. So those make sense. And then the other times are maybe like Q4 when I'm overloaded on prep, or maybe I'm out of town, things like that. So those are like the main three times that I would send things to a prep center. Okay. Now, number two is my mom. My mom lives in Florida. Florida has no tax on grocery and like vitamins and supplements. So rather than pay the prep center, I have my mom do it, and she makes a couple bucks. I get to be her only client, if you will. We're very transparent and honest. She knows I need to get things out quickly, and everyone wins. So it's like a no-brainer, and she likes doing it, and I like her doing it. And so number two is my mom. My mom lives in Florida. Florida is a tax-free state when it comes to grocery and like vitamins and supplements, which I do a good bit of. So basically, rather than send it to a prep center, I send it to my mom with the same exact thought process. But instead of paying a company, my mom can make a couple extra bucks, help me out. I'm her only client. We could be honest and transparent. If you have a family member or friend that wants to get involved, I highly recommend it. It's worked out really well for me. There's a little bit of a learning curve, but you can set them up for success pretty quickly. And so I like doing that. And if I ever needed to send things that weren't tax-free because I'm backed up, Q4, whatever, she knows how to do it. So even if it's not sales tax arbitrage or whatever, still have somebody with hands on deck. And then lastly, what I send to myself. I really like out of stock items. And with out of stock items and a lot of items on Amazon, things are time sensitive. So if I want to get something from time of order to Amazon as quickly as possible, I will prep and pack myself. For one, as soon as I receive it, I can list it FBM immediately, which is great for out of stock items. For two, I can receive it and literally get it out the same day if I really wanted to. That'll never happen at a prep center. A prep center, it'll probably, come into their warehouse. And if I requested it that same day, it could take a couple of days to go out the door. And that's assuming they're not backed up, right? Not knocking prep centers. That's just how it works. Makes sense, right? Another thing is kind of ties into time of the essence. Anything I get from a leads list for the most part, I believe because I'm competing with other sellers that are looking at this, time has to be an advantage that I can use. And if people aren't willing to prep and pack themselves and I can get it in before them, to me, that's a competitive advantage. The last two that I send to myself, low cost items. So, kind of what I talked about, why high cost items make sense to a prep center. The opposite holds true for low cost. If I buy something for $7 and I pay 49 cents in sales tax, yes, I have to prep and pack myself, but then I'm also saving $1 per item. Now, you might say, yeah, but isn't $1 worth your time? Blah, blah, blah. Well, if I buy 100 of these items and I save $100 or 50 of these items or 20 of these items, let's say 20 of these items and I save $20 by not doing it to a prep center and it took me 10 minutes. I don't think that's a horrible return. Plus, I'm going to get it there faster with a chance to sell it higher because time is usually of the essence with a lot of items, right? And then another thing is bundles. Almost all bundles, especially low cost bundles. The prep center charges $150 for a 1-pack, $3 for a 2-pack, $450 a 3-pack, etc. So if I do like a low cost bundle, let's say I spend $10 on a bundle and I want to sell it for 20, right? And let's say I make $5 profit. Well, I would be losing $3 of that profit or a little bit less than that because I wouldn't pay sales tax, right? By using the prep center. And not to mention, where I live, grocery is also very inexpensive, and that's what happens to be a lot of my bundles. So the sales tax isn't even such a factor when it comes to like grocery bundles in particular. So just makes sense that the low cost, the bundles, things that I need to get time sensitive, I do myself. There's always exceptions to the rule. There's always different times of year, and sometimes you just want to not have to have crap in your house, right? And I totally get that. There's not a one size fits all, but I would say this. A lot of things that are projected online are your time isn't worth prepping and packing. Outsource that as soon as possible. I don't disagree to definitely have at least somebody helping with prepping and pack, but for the average seller, let's say does 5 grand, 10 grand, 20 grand, I don't know. It's very, very manageable to prep and pack in those number range. Okay. So just because other people are doing it, that by the way, a lot of them make a lot of money doing coaching and courses and other forms of income, which by the way, I am not knocking at all. But I'm saying it might not be worth their time, but it doesn't mean it's not worth yours, strictly from a financial perspective. That's for you to decide. But I really think that finding a middle ground and not having all of your eggs in any one prep method basket makes a lot of sense. It's worked for me and I'm really happy with where I'm at. I don't mind getting my hands dirty when it makes sense. And there's other times I just want to outsource it. So that's where I'm at. And I just wanted to share that. There's not a one size fits all. Try things and see what works for you. All right. I'm Jonathan, Duke Does Amazon on Instagram, on Spotify. We have links below for coupons, affiliates, stuff like that. Appreciate you guys being here. Questions, comments, topics, let me know. Have a great day. I will talk to you soon. Take care.